Good afternoon, everybody. Eric Foster, co-founder of the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC. Still getting adjusted to the background screen that I have here to help me and getting over being a little under the weather. So bear with me because my voice cracks a little bit and kind of dry mouth a little bit, but I'm going to power through because we have to stop the Order 66 that's taking place and that is impacting us in regards to how we respond to the MAGA dictatorship regime's shutdown and their efforts to accelerate the end of our constitutional republic and representative democracy form of government. So today I'm going to hit on a few points that I think for the pro-democracy caucus, including the Democratic Party, which is our main political vehicle to fight this battle with, in terms of those who are elected into office in a sizable enough number that they can stand up as the primary resistance force. And I'm going to come back and do something else too when it comes to that, because I know that there's a lot of consternation in the pro democracy camp on the Democratic Party as the main vehicle. But because of their size, because of the fact that they are the other major political party, and they are the closest to being able to help get back control electorally of our country, why they're the primary vehicle. But let me shut up from that point and let me shift over to this. So, right now, in the MDR shutdown, the MAGA dictatorship regime shutdown, please, if you're on the pro democracy side, if you want to use that terminology, please lift it from us at the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC. But is what is the current battle lens for? And right now, the primary battle lens starts with healthcare and the lies that are being told about healthcare from the MAGA side, and how we respond so that people can clearly understand what the lies are. So now I'm going to shift a little bit because I've been trying to make sure that I keep the logo present, but I think you've seen it enough. So I'm going to share my screen and play a few videos that and talk over in terms of what the lies are that come from the MAGA side, what the truth is, and give context on how better to respond with truth. So that way we're able to defeat the lie, lay down the truth, and make truth simple again. Because remember, this is all about the foundation of the response is make truth simple again. If we don't make truth simple again, we're always caught in these long-winded rhetorical discussions that don't get to the meat for people. So I'm going to share my screen and let me hit that button on here. And I'm going to share the audio so that way you all can see it. All right. And so the first one is from the Daily Show with regards to what the MDR has been lying in terms of what Democrats want in regards to making this budget not as fascist as it is right now. And so on the healthcare side, here's what the MAGA folks are saying. So I'm going to play it starting right here and then kind of give feedback on it.
To help illegal immigrants.
What they have done instead is to shut down the government because we won't give billions of dollars to healthcare funding for illegal aliens.
They prioritize taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens over keeping the government open for Americans.
All right. So first, that's a lie. And as my grandma Foster would say, when people would lie like that, that's a lie and the truth ain't in you. And so the reason why that's a lie is, first off, it's been illegal since 1996 in terms of statutory law to actually give any sort of benefits to people who are undocumented immigrants. Now, it was something that was illegal beforehand, but it was further codified into a law in 1996. So they're lying. So, in making truth simple again, remember, there's always these core steps, and I'm going to go to it right here. So, the core steps in making truth simple again: one, call out the lie, what it is, say it's a lie. Don't get high minded, don't get over complicated in what the response needs to be. It's a lie, and the truth ain't in their ass. And you just have to say it clearly, plainly, and unambiguously. They're lying. So the best way to respond to that would be, and I'm just going to go to it because I've got it down here separately, is immediately check the lie. Undocumented immigrants can't get federal benefits. It's been illegal as statutory law since 1996. So going back to what they were saying, so you can see I got a lot going on here.
Citizens.
Democrats, the party of open borders.
Okay, so first off, that's a lie because we've never had open borders. The best way to respond to that in attacking the lie, since the founding of the country, we've had a military, we've had law, and we've had a response to anybody that's invaded our country. We responded in the War 1812, we responded in the Civil War, and we responded in any other incident that's taken place. We responded in Pearl Harbor. So that's always been a lie. We've always had borders, and we've always had borders that are managed. That's just fact. Don't let the lie live, period.
Transgender for everybody. Lawlessness in our streets.
Okay, so next slide. Transgender for everybody. Nope. So going back to attacking the lie, the Democratic Party, the pro-democracy side, respects every human being's ability to live as they choose and to be treated as a human being. And that includes transgender people having the right to be treated the same as non-transgender people. Period. Make it simple. Make it plain. Don't overtalk this shit when you're responding to the lie. That's the first step. Clear response. And then to the crime part, that's a lie. Democratic controlled, Democratic majority voting communities are as safe as Republican and MAGA dictatorship party regime majority voting communities. Crime that happens in dense areas, and that's it. It's within that area. And it's not something that's happening on every corner. This that they're taking from Los Angeles in the protest at ICE was one of only 5 cars that were set on fire. I know they want to play this clip constantly, but this was only one of 5 cars in an 8-block area of a city that is 500 square miles, 8 blocks, a freeway overpass, and an entrance and exit to the 105 versus a city of over 500 square miles. So it was a lie in terms of lawlessness in the streets, and it's always been a lie.
shutting down the government in an effort to appease the radical left. These Democrats.
Now, radical left, in their mind, because you've heard Donald Trump, you've heard J.D. Vance, you've heard Mike Johnson, you've heard John Thune, and you've heard all these people talk about the radical left. The radical left is anyone first in the eligible voter category who didn't vote for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. That's the 75,017,613 Americans who voted for Vice President Harris, including myself. And that is a subset of the total, which includes third-party voters, which in presidential voters, voters who voted down ballot and didn't vote for the top of the ticket, and voters who didn't cast ballots. That total adds up to 164,297,437 million Americans. That's who they consider the radical left, plus the 19 states that voted against Trump in 2016, 20, and 24, the 5 swing states that have Democratic governors that Trump may have won in 2024. He lost them in 2020. No doubt. He lost those in 2020. So we're not even gonna, I'll respond to that in a later video in terms of how best do you address those lies and bullshit. But he lost those in 2020. He won some of those in 2024. And now he won all of them in 2024, and he won some of them in 2016. But that's who they're talking about. The cities, the counties that didn't vote for him, we're all part of the radical left. There is no separation. Your geography, your state residence, your skin color, nothing else saves you from being targeted by the MAGA dictatorship regime. The MDR targets all of us.
Democrats are demanding nearly $1.5 trillion in spending for an agenda that includes health care for illegal aliens and much, much more.
Once again, that's a lie. The quickest way to respond to it, undocumented immigrants can't get federal benefits. That's been statutory law since 1996. There's no way they could, no way they ever would be able to. It's settled law. Everything you're saying outside of that is a lie, and the truth ain't in you. So, but here's where it gets problematic for our side when it comes to talking about how we're trying to respond to ensure that citizens and documented immigrants have health care. So let me play from here.
This is a pretty big accusation, okay? Democrats say they're shutting down the government because they want to preserve health care for tens of millions of Americans. But Republicans say Democrats just want to give health care to illegal immigrants. So can someone just clear this up for me?
Republicans pressuring moderate Democrats by claiming they are pushing for health care for undocumented immigrants. But their accusation is dubious and refers to a small group of benefit recipients whose status is considered lawfully present.
Okay. This is where the traditional mainstream media fails us. And it is frustrating that they fail us in this way, but they do. Once again, no undocumented immigrant can get health care benefits from the federal government under any circumstances. There is no small subset. The claims aren't dubious. It's a lie. The truth ain't in them. And we need the traditional media to just say it's a fucking lie. To keep with this, it's dubious, it's not factually correct, it's not sure. No, hardcore truth. Make truth simple again. The MAGA dictatorship regime and the MAGA congressional subsidiaries claims are lies. No undocumented immigrant can get benefits, and that's been codified federal law since 1996, period. That's where you fight the battle. So then if there's the question separately about documented immigrants, people who have visa status, people who are permanent legal residents, they can have access to benefits because they're documented, period. The 1996 law didn't cut them off. So they always have been able to and will still be able to, period. You make it real simple, people. That is too complicated and too ambiguous to make it seem like that there is. So here's how it gets then communicated.
Federal law explicitly prohibits undocumented people from receiving aid.
So in other words, some of the health care that Democrats are trying to get for Americans might also trickle down to some people who are not Americans.
No, that's not true, period. Only undocumented immigrants cannot get access to benefits, period. End of discussion. That's where the hill you die on. And then in terms of going out after you immediately check the lie, calling the lie, you respond to a MAGA Mike Johnson or John Thune or other folks. Even before the 1996 law, undocumented immigrants weren't getting access to federal benefits for health care out of administrative rules into particular agencies that provided health care, period. So that's it. It's make truth simple again. And then lastly, what is the Democratic bill trying to do? The Democratic bill, our bill, restores health care for citizens and documented immigrants only. That's it. You don't have to make it overly complicated. It's truth. So here's another situation where, unfortunately, the communication, and I'm going to play this because I think that this is important.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Appreciate it. Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, Americans...
Excuse me, stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
All right. So once again, here's where the problem comes in. Congresswoman Waters is a great woman and a legend, and she's been able to make transformative statutory law that's been helpful. But here is where you make your response more complicated than it needs to be, and it gets interpreted in ways that hurt you.
Everybody, we want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good.
So I know it's going to continue to play on the loop, but so here's the thing, just to be real. What the Congresswoman should have said is, to the question from the reporter from Lindell TV, undocumented immigrants can't get federal benefits. It's been illegal and statutory law since 1996. So that's it. What we're doing, if you want to jump to the state the truth, our bill restores health care for citizens and documented immigrants. Because because Congresswoman Waters made the statement, we want health care for everybody. And I think her heart's in the right place in terms of not wanting people to die, but you can't overcomplicate your answer. The truth is the truth. Make it simple again, people. Undocumented immigrants can't get federal benefits. It's been illegal and statutory law since 1996. You immediately check the lie. 2, you call the question a lie. Your question's a lie. When the young lady came back and asked the question again, your question is a lie because even before the 1996 law, they weren't getting benefits via departmental rules. And then you state the truth. Our bill restores health care for citizens and documented immigrants only, period. That's where you stay in. You don't go into extra area. Congresswoman Waters cares about all people, but right now the battle is health care for citizens and documented immigrants who've always been able to legally have health care. That's it. There is no desire to give health care to undocumented immigrants, period. Her response gets twisted. Democrats, our super PAC is here if you would like to have us come in and help you with messaging and communication, because we, once again, I'm going to go back to it, make truth simple again. Call the lie what it is. You got to check the lie. You got to state the truth and put it in simple terms. And then make the lie personal to the pro-democracy non-MAGA majority. Because if we were to do a step 4 would be the MDR, the MAGA dictatorship regime, and the MAGA congressional subsidiary, the MCS, wants to take healthcare away from citizens and documented immigrants. That's going to steal money out of those people's pockets, because if they get sick, they're going to have to pay either out of pocket or try to find a plan that's a lot higher than what they're paying for right now. So they are stealing from citizens. So let's be real. Once again, 1, 2, 3, going back to the reporter from Lindell, and to any person you're talking to from the MAGA side. 1, it's a lie. Undocumented immigrants can't get federal health care benefits. It was administrative rules before 1996, and it's been law since 1996, period. Then 2, when they keep asking, your question is a lie. Even before the 1996 law, no federal agency was giving benefits to undocumented immigrants. Then 3, state the truth. Our bill restores health care affordably to American citizens and documented immigrants who legally have been able to get health care since the beginning of health care. And then 4, make the lie that the MAGA dictatorship regime, the MAGA congressional subsidiary, and the MAGA mainstream media are saying by making it personal to the non-MAGA majority. The MCS and the MDR are stealing money from citizens by eliminating support for their health care, which means when they get sick, they're going to have to pay out of pocket, which is a lot higher. So you are stealing money from folks, period. You're stealing money from them under every circumstance. So, and then you repeat when they keep asking, it's a lie. Undocumented immigrants have not been able to get health care since 1996 as part of statutory law, and they weren't getting it prior to that. Your question is a lie. Even before the 1996 law, they weren't able to get it before that by administrative rules. Our plan is to restore affordable healthcare access to American citizens and documented immigrants, which has been legal since the beginning of time for American citizens and documented immigrants. And lastly, the MDR's dictatorship bill, budget bill, steals money out of citizens' pockets by not supporting affordable health care, period. Boom, 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 boom. 4 steps. Then what you've done now is you have attacked the lie, you have repeated the premise of why they're lying, you have made the clear, short, simple statement about the truth, and lastly, stop sharing. And lastly, you have turned it around and you put it back to make it personal to the non-MAGA voters. Because that's what it is. When you eliminate the Affordable Care Act subsidies, the ACA subsidies, that help make healthcare costs affordable for people like me who are making $40,000, $50,000 a year, for people who are making $70,000, $80,000 a year, who instead of paying $400 or $500, look, I'm a cancer survivor. So if those subsidies weren't in place, I'd be paying $350 or higher a month for my healthcare insurance. But because of those subsidies, I've been able to pay under $50 a month for my healthcare premiums. If the MDR gets their way, they're stealing $300 a month from me. I'm not rich. I work just like you work. And that's just a personal, real example. So we have to be that clear. I apologize, guys, because I know, like I told you, my voice, the dryness, I've been sick, haven't been able to sleep much because my sinuses have been blocked up. It really gets bad at night, especially, I can breathe during the day, but as soon as night comes, then it's like, okay, you can't breathe, so suffer. But I digress. You have to respond differently. Cons has to prepare people to go out and properly make truth simple again. I mean, this is critical in terms of how we actually respond to the MDR's lies, the MAGA mainstream media's lies, and the MAGA congressional subsidiaries' lies. You've got to make it that clear. And so the Congresswoman is a good example of, unfortunately, when we don't make things clear, what the problem becomes. There's one other thing I wanted to share, because it's also what I believe is another missed opportunity for the pro-democracy side when it comes to these particular battles and the struggle that we're facing. And it was me watching somebody I truly respect and appreciate, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Congressman Greg Casar. And actually, Congressman Casar, our super PAC supported in 2024 in his election. And so there was a particular point in their interview that they had with MSNBC where Michael Steele asked them a question in terms of expanding the fight beyond just healthcare, which I think makes a lot of sense in terms of some of the articles that we've put out and some of the pushes that we're making in terms of the fact that we want the Democrats in the House and Senate to say no to the MDR's dictatorship budget bill because it continues to allow them to invade American cities. You know, going back to what Donald Trump said on Tuesday in front of the military brass, the desire to invade Democratic majority voting communities, the cities where people who choose to vote as they have the legal right to do are basically being invaded by an enemy occupying force, which shouldn't be an enemy. Our military is not the enemy. It's the people who are trying to weaponize them that are. But ultimately, the question was, why aren't Democrats adding that to the conversation? And so I wanted to get to that point. I'm trying to see, because I'm actually looking at the transcript to see where did it pop in to the conversation. And hmm, I'm not finding it like I would have wanted to. Hold on. All right. Let's see here. I'm trying to find it. So bear with me. I should be able to find it. And let's see. Hmm. Okay. I'm not finding it the way that I wanted it to do and wanted to find it. But ultimately, and I'll do another video on this, but I do believe that ultimately one of the things that the party and the pro-democracy side needs to do is this budget battle. Healthcare is an important first step, but also ensuring that what's passed into the next year's budget prevents the MDR from illegally deploying troops and invading American cities, from weaponizing the military against non MAGA Americans. I think you have to make it personal like that because it's kind of hard to be able to go to the grocery store if the military is blocking your access because of some BS activity of quote unquote rooting out crime when local police are able to do that themselves. And you don't need tanks and troops carrying M16 weapons in Memphis, in Chicago, in other communities, in DC, and then trying to bring them to other communities. You just don't need that. So that I think is something else that the party should add to the fight, which is in any deal, ensuring that what's in the language prevents the illegal authorization of federal troops, be it National Guard or active duty military, to invade American cities under the lies of the Alien Enemies Act or Insurrection Act or Alien Sedition Act or crime, any of the MAGA dictatorship regime's lies of why they want to put armed troops into these communities. That needs to be an important part of how you respond and what you need to say in terms of making sure that people understand that your life is not kept normal with military. Your life is impacted. You don't need troops to watch over you. So that's another one. But like I said, I'm going to put that into another video and go a little bit more deeper into that. But as the Super PAC, that's something that we've been publicly advocating for over the past week, reaching out to different members of Congress to share our thoughts when it comes to this and adding those to the list of requirements for any final deal with regards to the 2026 budget for the federal government, because you can't trust the MCS, the MAGA congressional subsidiary. And then last point, and then I'm going to end this one because, like I say, with me being sick, I know it's not coming off as clear as it would normally. But last point, the MCS is the majority in Congress, and the MDR controls the White House. Once again, the MAGA congressional subsidiary is the majority in Congress, and the MAGA dictatorship regime controls the White House. Don't talk about things in the terms of Congress. Congress is giving up its constitutional authority. Congress is not coming together and judiciously holding its constitutional allowed power. Congress is not standing up. The Democrats and independents in Congress are doing everything that they can, but they're not in control. The MDR is in control, and the MCS functions under the orders of the MDR, period. That's who's controlling Congress. So if you want Congress to do something different, you have to fire the MCS in the 2026 election, and you have to fire the MDR in the 2028 election, and then you have to codify quickly laws to prevent any sort of repeat of this dictatorship regime that was elected into office to turn America from a constitutional republic and representative democracy form of government into a American presidential dictatorship. Period. You have to be aggressive when winning back control. Constraints, guardrails, and actual laws with criminal penalties when you violate them, and the fact that no president has immunity. They are a citizen just like everybody else, and when they commit a crime, they need to do the time, period, just like the rest of us. And that needs to be codified as statutory law. And yeah, if you want to add it to the Constitution, you can try to add it later, but start with adding it as statutory law immediately. And yeah, you be doing it, and it's one of the pro-democracy folks in office, but that's exactly the right way it needs to be. Period. So that's all. I will see you all on the other side. And once again, if you want to support the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC, please visit www.futurepac.today. And if you want to support me on Substack as one of the co-founders, you can visit Common Sense by Eric Foster on Substack. Also, I'm on Medium and YouTube as well under Common Sense by Eric Foster. And the news, we have the Future Today and Tomorrow newsletter and presence on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. So check us out there also. So thank you. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the other side.